Everybody, good morning. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Anthony.
I'm Giuseppe.
And I'm Nicole.
And we are the Binary Trio. So just to begin, imagine a world where customer service representatives are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where this service will come at no extra price to the consumer who's using it, and will actually save the company money both in the short term as well as in the long term. Providing the customer with a quicker, more accurate, and more efficient customer service experience. Chatbots, specifically our chatbot Shadow, will do just this for Monmouth University specifically. So just a quick sign of the times, we just wanted to provide you a few statistics to kind of just back up why chatbots are so important. I know Jeff touched on it earlier. But we just thought that these three were pretty important. So the first being 51% of people say a business needs to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As opposed to 5 years ago, if you asked this very question, the percentage would have only been 34%. The next statistic we have is 45.8% of people would rather contact a business through messaging than an email. And now this number has increased over the last 3 years, 67%. So if you just think about that for a second, the fact that something that has been around only a few years, like a chatbot, the fact that that has kind of surpassed popularity of email, which has been around for 40 plus years now, is kind of staggering. So something that's so rudimentary is more popular than something that's been around for something as long as email is pretty staggering if you think about it. And lastly, 49.4% would rather contact a business through messaging than call on the phone. And this is up 74% over the past 3 years alone. So just as you can see, it's a growing trend, and we definitely think that Monmouth University specifically can take advantage of this trend. The two biggest chatbot platforms, as you know, are Facebook Messenger, which now boasts a total of 900, a little over 900 million active users, which many of you guys use, and Kik has over 200 million. So just those two platforms alone, you're already up to about 1 billion users. So if firms can either make their own chatbot, or if you can partner with a company like Facebook, for example, there's a huge market potential there which you could exploit.
So this graph is just kind of going off of what Anthony said. You know, you might be wondering, why are chatbots so important, or why do we care? But the truth is, we use it every day, like we've been saying. Whether you're actually using a chatbot or you're just using a messaging platform, essentially a chatbot today is a messaging platform.
So what will Shadow do exactly? So at the root of everything, whenever you're trying to sell anything, there has to be a need, right? People have a need. People have a need for instant gratification, especially this day and age. If my laptop doesn't load within 5 seconds, I get frustrated. Where 10 years ago, you had a computer with a giant tower and all these wires coming out of it, and you would wait a minute for the page to load. Now that's not really how it works. We want to be able to write a question into the chatbot, like the ones that we have listed, for example, and we want to spit something back at you that is not only quick, but it has to be reliable and it has to be accurate. Those are probably, honestly, the two most important characteristics. It will also create a competitive advantage, and with Monmouth University could provide prospective students who are researching colleges. It will provide an immediate, a precise answer, and most importantly, you can get it at any time of the day. Just a quick little anecdote, I guess. We were talking to Jeff about a week and a half ago, kind of about this example where, looking back on applying to colleges, say you're in a lunchroom at your local high school, right? Nowadays, you're allowed to have your phone in high schools now, so the kids are always on their phone. So they're sitting around the lunch table, they're talking about colleges, I applied here, I applied there, right? So one of the kids says, oh, well, I thought this was really cool, the college offers X, Y, and Z, right? And the other kid who he's talking to, or the group of kids who he's speaking to, says, no, I don't believe that, right? I don't think that they offer that. So no, I'll show you. So he goes on his phone, he goes on the website, the chatbot pops up right on your phone, you type in what you want, and it spits the information back out at you. The reason why that's so important is because 96% of people trust word of mouth. So for example, what my friends say, or what my family says, more than they trust information that's on the news or information that's on the internet. So word of mouth is extremely important. So if you can have that work for you at any time of the day in front of your friends and family, that's a huge deal if you can get that information as quickly and as precisely as possible in front of people that you know.
So with everything, when you're trying to sell a product or I'm trying to market something to you, you're going to ask me, well, what's the point? What are the benefits? So we feel overall it saves times for users and universities. Chatbots will eliminate those request forms that a lot of employees at Monmouth have to deal with all the time in admissions. So instead of having to answer 20 phone calls a day or this email here, this email there, instead you have this chatbot answering all those questions all the time. So we feel that there's going to be more time for them to do other tasks that maybe like actually meeting with students or going to financial aid to ask questions that the chatbot can answer. So it saves time in that way, but it also saves time for students. When you go to search for something on the university's webpage, it's a little complicated. So for example, I search for parking. This is just 6 or 7 of all the links that come up, but at the end of the day, to find specifically the lot you're looking for, payment, whatever it is, there's so much to go through. So some other benefits for students is that they're more comfortable, like we were saying, with the messaging platform because they're used to doing it already every day and it's very personal. They're also going to be less frustrated using the chatbot because they're getting those specific, clear, concise answers. Whereas when you're searching through all these things, you say, you know what, I don't even want to deal with Monmouth because this is just too complicated. So maybe we'll get more people, applying to school, more applications, more revenue on the university end also. And we feel overall it's going to make the university grow. So like we said, our target market is Monmouth University. We have about 4,600 enrolled at Monmouth and about 1,400 applicants every year. But this is just a small scale, way of looking at the market. There's a huge business-to-business market out there. There's actually, in New Jersey alone, there's 62 colleges. And in the country, there's over 4,000. So we put the Penn State example. They have over 40,000 students enrolled right now. So now I'm just going to give it off to Giuseppe, and he's going to do the demo.
Sure. So we used a Gupshup API and I/O. The knowledge base was actually one that I had to use and created. We didn't have any access to information from Monmouth University. So here, by using this Gupshup IPO, we can add it to SMS, we can add it to Facebook Messenger, we can add it to Kik. So it was really encapsulated a lot of different messaging platforms. So I'm just going to go over to my texts. If you wanted the text, because we're using a proxy bot, I just have to type in proxy and the name of my chat, and it should pop up in a second. It's going to take a minute to map the bot out. Luckily, our bot can understand a few different ways a person may talk. So one thing I'm always concerned about is tuition. I'm going to say, what's tuition like? And it's going to come back with an answer. Needs more information. Great. But what if I don't ask what's tuition like? What if I say, what does tuition cost? It's going to recognize this. And in a minute, I'm going to get the same question. Now here we begin our decision tree. Tuition isn't the same for graduate and undergraduate students. What if I say undergrad? Now this is more specific. I'm going to get an answer with just how much tuition costs for an undergrad student. This is just tuition based. Now what if I say, okay, well that's how much tuition is, but what is it going to cost me if I want to be here as a student and I want to live on campus? Well, I can say, well, how about about total costs. Again, we're going to get into another decision tree. Residents and commuters have different costs. I'll take you down the bigger decision tree, a resident student. If I type in resident, we're going to get asked another question. Parking or no parking? Let's say parking. Good thing we didn't wait for that other bot to map, right? Okay, so we're with parking. One last question. Meal plan or no meal plan? If I'm a freshman, do I need to have a meal plan? I don't know. The bot's going to let us know that, look, if you're a freshman, it's required that you have a meal plan. So let's type meal plan. Let's pretend we're a freshman here. And then we should get an answer. And so that's a total answer about $43,000 per se for your tuition and fees. And I gave them a link to see if the different types of meal plan options. We know that there aren't always decision trees. Sometimes questions are question and answer. So what if, is there a parking fee? Oops, sorry. Quick answer, parking fee for residents is $350. There's no fee for commuter students. We do not have to pay. Just so you're asking about parking, did you know freshmen can bring their cars? We're trying to draw students in. Not every school allows freshman students to bring their cars. We want students to apply and come to our school. So one more tree that we could go down was SAT scores. That's the top question that students have when they're coming to our school. So we can say, what is the average SAT score? Oh, I made a typo. We'll see what happens. Luckily, my bot knew, our bot knew. We use keywords. They're looking for specific characters that are going to tell us where we go in our bot. So we have the SAT, the new version or the old version. Let's try the new version. If you're not sure, I let them know that the new version of the SAT started in 2016. And that would be the average SAT scores of students coming in. One last question that doesn't really require a decision. A second question was students nowadays don't like to be taught by graduate assistants. So I can say, are there graduate assistants teaching courses? Oop, another typo, let's see what happens. Keyword again was actually assistant, so that's where we came down to that. But no, Monmouth does not use graduate assistants. We're very unique. We have a small student to teacher ratio, and so that's why we want to try to draw them in and how we can do that. Bot answers many more questions, but I don't want to take up too much time. So thank you.